Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lesson. So we're looking at the volley this week at DTL, and today specifically technique for the backhand volley. If you just watched our forehand volley technique, there's definitely some similarities, but I want to point out a few differences today that we find on the backhand that aren't quite there on the forehand. Set position number one, okay? Yes, we want to be in that 45-degree spot. So that upright position is not great. This laying down position is not great. Those two shots either drop the ball or pop it up too much. So we want to work out of that 45-degree spot. In the set position, where I find there to be a kind of an addition on the backhand that we don't necessarily have on the forehand, is the roll of the left hand. All right, I think a lot of us out there feel maybe a little bit weaker on the backhand volley than we do on the forehand. And so the natural tendency is to squeeze the grip a little too tight. And so now, before we've actually gone to hit the volley, we're squeezing this thing so tight, we actually get a little bit weak at contact. We might even relax it a little bit. So I love the idea that the left hand really supports the throat of the racket with good grip pressure. And the result should be that the right hand is holding the grip looser. And what that's going to allow is just a little more freedom in the stroke of the backhand volley. Okay? So tighter with the left hand, looser with the right hand, up until you release, and that's generally where I put the squeeze or the charge into the grip, is once I'm actually going to contact. This left hand is not done at that point just because the right hand starts to take over. A really classic backhand volley should have the left hand releasing away from where the racket's going. So you've seen players out there before that get ready to hit a backhand volley and this left hand just drops off, and now there's this disconnect. So I want you really working on letting that left hand pull back, almost in a way where it slingshots the racket forward. It's a really good way to balance the body and get a little more of a nice driving move into the ball. Okay, so very important role that the left hand plays on the backhand volley. Into the step, okay? Timing wise, again, it's so key when we time this step on the volley. Too early, as we saw with the forehand, stops momentum. And a lot of times on the backhand especially, when you stop too early with that step and it's not quite time to volley, it really turns into a chop. And we're not trying to chop down on the backhand volley. We want to have that nice glide, that good release going forward. So time the step where you're landing on the right leg, hopefully slightly after you make contact. If it's right at the same time, simultaneous, that you're landing and volleying, that's going to work for you. But I think the best volleys that I personally see, contact occurs and then the weight finally gets fully transferred to that right leg. With regard to the follow-through, once we've pushed off into that volley, be okay with the idea that it is a little more natural that the racket moves slightly more downward on a backhand volley than it does on the forehand volley. I don't like this idea simply because on the forehand the dominant shoulder is sitting back. So when we start to drop that racket, it really gets choppy. On the backhand, the dominant shoulder is leading, so I'm not really at risk of hitting a lot of backhand volleys late, and because of that, I feel like I can drop the strings down a little bit to get a little more play on the ball, a little more backspin, a little more bite on the ball. Obviously, don't start fanning the racket vertically downward. Definitely not what I'm saying, but a slight more release down absolutely is a nice quality of that backhand volley. And then also with the idea of the follow-through, know that it's kind of related, directly related to how the ball comes into you. So the faster it comes, if you notice that the follow-through is a little bit shorter, perfectly okay. It's probably the right way to play against power. You don't want to be trying to get out and extend fully against power. You're going to lose control. Notice that even when I take an abrupt kind of move to the ball because the power is heavy, the left hand still pulls back. You don't want to play this shorter stroke against power and start losing the function of that left hand. So whether we're seeing a slower ball come in and getting more of this release and seeing the left hand get farther back, or playing against power and shortening up the stroke, that left hand always will pull away from the direction that the racket's moving. Okay, so those are those 3 key ideas on backhand volley technique. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure you're going out there so that that's a reliable shot for you once it comes to match time. Okay, and that's all I got for you today. So I hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those very helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well, and we'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.